Thank you to our next presenters that have dedicated themselves to all of you so that we, as DEWs, can unburden ourselves, unburden the workshop to lighten our mental load. We all need this. It is a must-attend learning event for all busy dental women. It's a brand new approach to evaluating your mental load, implementing tools to lighten the burden, the strategies to create household and business harmony. Doctors Laura Schwindt and Karen Tindall are retired dentists and life coaches. The Mint Door, which they just founded, is a private members club for women dentists and focuses on well-being, wisdom, and wonderful connections. If you're not a dentist and you're on this call tonight, I implore you, any female dentist you know they need this so they can be better leaders for you and their team and the teams that they are in charge of. Dr. Karen Tindall, when she was asked, what does DEW mean to you? She said, DEW has been the first place where I have experienced that women who are unrelated by blood can have a love for each other that nurtures, supports, and allows each other to grow. Thank you so much for saying that, Karen. Dr. Laura Schwindt said, when we asked her, what does it mean to be a DEW? She said, being in the presence of a DEW is coming home. It's like coming home. No words need to be spoken. There is just a knowing that you are safe, you are loved, and you are considered part of the family. There is always room at the table, and your soul will be nourished. Thank you, Laura. We have created something beautiful here, and we have these two beautiful women to be able to share with us tonight how we can unburden our load. Please help me welcome the most amazing cover DEWs for our winter edition, Dr. Karen Tindall and Dr. Laura Schwindt. Welcome, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I can't believe how big the grin is on my face, actually, just sitting here today, being able and being invited to do this. And Laura and I are just so excited to be here. Now, we are going to provide you, hopefully, with an interactive, a fun, but also an evening that is going to actually end up with you feeling lighter and less weighed down by all of the busyness that goes on in our everyday lives. Now, to make it interactive, we have a super fun thing to share with you. So I'm just going to share my screen now. And so welcome to Unburden. And this is our logo that Laura and I love so much for this. Like it makes us happy when we look at it. So we are going to be using Mentimeter today to help you and participate so you can actually express your opinions and your thoughts with us, and everybody is going to get to see them on the screen. So right now, if you go to menti.com and you can put this code in, or you can use your phones and you can use this QR code, and it's going to take you to mentimeter.com, and it's going to take you specifically to our quiz that we have set up. So either do it on the computer in a different window, or you can do it on your phone or a tablet or iPad or whatever is next to you. And I don't know, Nikki, if you can see everybody who's in there. People just give us a wave when they're all set up with this. And Anne is ready. I can see Anne. So that is cool. So we're going to go to our first question on menti.com. We want to ask you, how busy have you been today? Now, if you've got on your device, the question shows up on the device, you can answer on there. And we want you to answer, and little dots are going to start showing up on our screen. All these dots flying in is so cool.
They do look like little bees flying in.
Yeah, they do. That one's made of flour. That's so easy. I couldn't have done more. So we've got still a few more answers coming in, but it looks like there was only one dew who had an incredibly not busy day. I mean, full marks to that dew, whoever that was, who had a day where they were not busy. But there's two of them. There's two of them keeping each other company. But everybody else here has had a really either a super busy day that they couldn't have done more, and the majority of people have been busy, but with breathing room. Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting place where we have got to right now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. And so like Karen and Anne said, welcome to Unburden, the workshop to lighten your mental load. We have just a little bit of housekeeping. One is it will behoove you to have a pen and a piece of paper later in the presentation. So if you don't have that handy, make sure you have that handy. Number two, we would like to send out our gratitude to Anne and all the people of DEW behind the scenes who help run DEW and make it work. Thank you. And to each and every one of the DEWs that is here tonight, or maybe is unable to be here. You all inspire us, support us, and make us feel amazing every single day. So thank you. Thank you, Anne and DEW. And then the third little piece of housekeeping is that when we come back out of the breakout session, Karen and I are going to live coach somebody. And so if there is somebody that is interested in being a volunteer, and I promise you it'll be fun, it won't be hard in any way, shape, or form. But if you're interested in being a volunteer, if you could just message Nikki and let her know. And that way, when we come back, we'll know who that person is. So that's a little bit of housekeeping, but welcome to Unburden. Thanks for being here.
Yes. So I'm just going to share this screen again. And here are updated 8, 12, and Tony 2 who were not busy. So here is a question for you. What is mental load? And those of you who wanted the link again, I saw that in the chat. It's at the top of the screen there, menti.com, and the code is there to input as well, 368350096. And take a vote on what you think mental load is.
Oh, look at all those go.
Yeah.
Goodness, oh goodness.
All bubbling in
That
there.
one's getting heavy.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That looks good. So it looks like we have got the majority of the votes in. And the definition of mental load is actually this one with only 2 votes. It's always being the one to remember. Mm-hmm. That means that everything comes down to you. The tiny little pieces in our busy lives, and it is predominantly a woman phenomenon, mental load. We carry so much in day-to-day life that this is what weighs us down because our brains are always busy. And it is like, it's an invisible labor, mental load is, of making sure that we remember and that we oversee everything. We're being the perpetual manager of the house. Even at work, we take on that role, and just to make sure nothing falls through the cracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so there's an example that we'd like to give of mental load. And this example is one that I think most of us can identify with, and that is the school drop-off. Now, if you don't have children, this could correlate to the puppy drop-off at doggy daycare, or going to visit elderly parents, or some form of drop-off. And we think of it as just a simple drop off. And so when we give that job to somebody else, it's simple, right? Just a drop off. But this short story from the nonprofit Bright Horizons highlights the mental load behind a drop off. So a child's school day from the perspective of the caregiver isn't just about the physical jobs of pickup and drop off. It's also about the perpetual mental awareness of schedules, including early release days, carpools, doctor's appointments, play dates, special events, field trips, class parties, science fairs. Who needs to bring what? Who likes what for lunch? What do they need to wear? And which day requires special supplies? These are just some of the items on the family list that require the working mother's constant mental presence, even when she gives the job of drop-off away. The mind share versus the time share equation is at the heart of mental load. The requirement on women to not be just parents and caretakers, but also unofficial keepers of all the family's needs and make sure nothing falls through the cracks.
Now, all these roles that we have all at the same time, Laura and I like to refer to them as the various hats we wear. Now, there are the obvious hats that we wear day to day, okay? And our obvious hats are the things like, I'm a mum, I'm a dog parent, I'm a dentist, I'm a hygienist, I work in an office, I travel around. Like, they are the things that we really see that we do day in, day out, and they are obvious. Now, we also have some invisible hats that people don't know that we wear. Maybe a bit like this one. Okay, now this isn't necessarily a hat that I wear every single day. I think this was a Halloween costume once upon a time. But you get the idea, is that an invisible hat is something where we don't get rewarded for doing that work. So it's these jobs that hide, that just get done. And we don't sometimes even, we don't advertise that we do them either, but they weigh on us in that mental load.
Mm-hmm. And for some of you that may have participated in a workshop that Karen and I just did recently at Jumpstart, you may remember that Karen likes to divulge secrets, personal secrets of mine. And so tonight, Karen, I have a little surprise for you.
Okay.
I would like to divulge one of your secrets. So maybe you would be willing to share one of your invisible hats that you wear.
So another invisible hat that I don't actually wear very often in this sense, like it's another Halloween costume, I think this was one of my girls, is that I am an expert in DIY in the bathroom. Now, I, this weekend, regrouted the shower because we live in a new build house and new build houses settle and little cracks appear in places. Now, I was the only one that noticed the crack in the shower. I was definitely the only person who felt like it bothered them that there was a crack in the shower. So that came on my mental load list that I needed to sort out the crack in the shower. Now, admittedly, I could have rung somebody to come and do that for me, but I don't know whether it's my dentistry skills. I'm particularly talented at regrouting showers. And I'm also very good at plumbing and unblocking toilets. So that is part of my invisible mental load that maybe I wouldn't have shared with you guys before, that you wouldn't know it was there. What about you, Laura? What's your invisible mental load?
Well, in my family, I am the chief conflict negotiator. And so whenever there is any sort of conflict, I am called to put on my hat and take care of it. In fact, this just happened last week. You see, we recently moved, and my husband had been communicating. He had been the communicator with our previous landlord. And so he was taking care of the transition and the checkout and all of that. One day I received a text saying that I needed to now talk with the landlord because things had gotten a little sticky over a few items. And so suddenly what I thought was not even in my mental load was given back to me to finish. And the funny thing is that as we went into it, I sort of had that in the back of my head that I bet I'm going to need to step in at some point here and become the conflict negotiator. And just so everyone knows, everything went smoothly and my hat was worn well.
So that was already like in the back of your mind, it was already weighing on you there, knowing that that was a hat you might have to put on, Laura.
Mm-hmm. There was a piece of me wondering if I should just take it over to begin with. Yeah. But I thought, I have so much else going on. Let him do it.
Yeah. So we would like to go back to our Mentimeter now and ask you, go open up your phones. You should still be on the page if it's there, or open up the window back on your computer. What are some of the hats that you have worn today? What are some of the roles that you have done in the busy day that most of you, majority of you, said that you have had today? And we're going to start to see these popping up here on the screen. There's the hats. And with this word picture that comes here, the bigger the word gets, the more people have said that thing. They've typed exactly the same words in. So we'll start to see these words populating the box here. We've got yoga instructor, business owner, dental hygienist, mum, therapist. Oh my gosh, it's going wild.
Look at all these hats.
CEO, wedding planner. Who's a wedding planner? That sounds fun. Dental practice broker, kid teacher mediator, managing my dad's care, therapist,
taxi mom.
Yeah. Interior designer, house manager, home manager. So you can get a picture now of all of the roles that collectively we have been playing here today. Isn't this great for Dew that the center one is business owner?
Yeah. Well, and when you ask somebody what they do, typically they will give that answer, but look at all the other things you do.
Yeah. There is an awful lot that we do there.
This is fun.
Yeah. Thank you for adding those into that thing.
Appointment scheduler. Oh.
Carpool coordinator.
Party planner. Yay.
Laundry folder. I feel that one. Yeah. I feel that one. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen there. That's cool.
All right. So now that we've talked about all of these different hats, it's important to know that we have collected these hats over a long period of time. And they can get pretty heavy. Look at that. I balanced it.
You are the balanced boss, Laura.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it would be fun if we could hear now, if there were people that wanted to unmute and just briefly share with short, concise words, maybe one of the hats that they wear with us tonight.
I can share. I'm Kathy Signo, And one of the hats that I wear is caregiver for my mom.
Mm.
And that's probably right now the heaviest hat that I have.
Mhm.
A little emotionally overwhelming.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a heavy hat.
There's a lot that goes into that hat. Mhm.
Yeah.
Fortunately, physically she's healthy, but all of her day-to-day, it's like I have stepped into the role of her parent and have to manage everything for her. She can bathe and dress and do all those things, and she's healthy, but it's like I have a child again.
Thank you for sharing that, Kathy. I think
Yes.
we're all sending you a hug.
Yes.
Yes.
You do a great job.
Mhm.
I'm happy to jump in. I am constantly the team therapist. For every call that we have, there seems to be underlying issues, and then everyone seems to pick up the phone and call me to deal with their emotions about it. And that team is all men, by the way.
Wow.
Wow. Who knew that men would need that?
Yeah.
This is
So
Ann.
I'll
I'm the big sister. I'll just say Ann Duffy. I'm the big sister of my three brothers and my sister and their kids and all that. So I take that on,
Mhm.
not only with my own family, but the family I grew up with.
Mhm.
I'm right now, when you talk about wearing hats, if you can see my video, we're totally crafting. See that? So this is the hat. I'm in mom mode. That's one of the multiple ones. It's Valentine's Day celebration tomorrow. So I'm multitasking. So again, there's another hat, a hat full of construction paper and glue.
Mhm.
That was good timing, Linda.
Yes.
You know what? We have to. I mean, what choice do we have, right?
Mhm.
This is
Yeah.
life.
Mhm. The multitasking hat.
This is Deborah. One of the hats I wore today was moral support for a good friend of mine who's going through a horrendous custody battle for her granddaughter who had lost both their parents.
Wow.
Wow.
You sound like you're a good friend to have.
Mhm.
One of the hats that I wear, I'm sure many of you wear, is seasonal, and that's the holiday planner.
Mm.
Because what's going to happen at Thanksgiving? Who's having it where? Who's bringing what? Or Christmas? And it's one reason I think we put way too much pressure on us women during the holiday season at the end of the year to create this magical fairy lights and presents and special everything.
Mhm.
And nothing gets taken off our plate in December. We just have to add all that on.
Mhm. Yeah.
I can go. So I wear a million different hats. I was saying to someone the other day that I was like a juggler, basically. So being a mom to my 9-month-old who's now sleeping. And then as I was listening to you guys, I was multitasking, filling out some questions for a dental hygienist student who wanted to know what I do. So I was helping her out doing those questions and attaching pictures for her presentation. As well as today being a public speaker and filling out emails and sending my speaker packet and everything to people interested in me speaking. And then we're renovating, so giving someone a check and then paying for the tile, like a million different things. So that's why I made a post about the Super Bowl with the halftime show, because I was going crazy that day with everything that was going on. It was just a good release to be able to dance and enjoy that moment, because sometimes you're doing so much multitasking that your brain feels staticky and everything. So I saw a good TikTok that I posted in my Facebook group about that, about a mom and all the things, basically what someone had just said, all the things that you were doing. I think it was when you were talking about the drop off and everything. And like, even when you give it to someone else, she had said, like, you're still thinking about all the different things that are supposed to be done. And even if I give my child to my husband and everything, and I have to do something, I'm still like, let me rush back so he doesn't kill my child in that 30 minutes of time.
Thank you, Carrie. So our aim today is for you to leave here a little bit lighter. And we want to be able to help you take off some of the hats, put them down for a while, take a break. Obviously, we have to be strategic about which hats we take off and which hats we leave on. But we have come up with a system to help you remove a hat or two. So we're going to share that now with you. So listen carefully.
All right. So there are basically 3 steps to take when you want to unburden yourself from some of your mental load. Now, it's important to know that you may not be able to unburden yourself from certain pieces of your mental load. There may be things that are just there, but there are other things that maybe can lighten so that you can pay attention to those ones that you can't put down. All right, and the first step is decluttering. Now, when we talk about clutter, we can think about physical clutter, and we can also think about mental clutter. But both types of clutter actually increase our cortisol levels. And in women, that translates more so than men to higher anxiety levels. It also decreases our ability to focus and makes us want to avoid things. So when there is clutter, both physically and mentally, and you avoid things, you're actually adding to your mental load because things aren't getting done. It's akin to that feeling of that dark cloud over your head, that there's this stuff that needs to be attended to. Mm-hmm. I'll give an example of physical clutter, which is the laundry room. The other day I walked by the laundry room and it was a disaster. And there was a load in the dryer that needed to be taken out to be folded, but I couldn't even get to the dryer. There was stuff everywhere. Kids stuff, equipment, dog stuff, dirty clothes, baskets. And as I walked by, I wanted to avoid it. I wanted to close the door because I didn't have time to deal with all the other stuff. I only had time to get the clothes out of the dryer and fold them. But because of all that clutter, I avoided it. And it just added to my mental load. I knew eventually I'd have to get to that room. And so you can see how decluttering, and both mentally and physically, can help you lighten your load. So that's step 1.
Mm-hmm. Step 2 is a term that we're all very familiar with, PPE. However, this PPE is different. Our PPE stands for plan, perform, and excel. And let me explain a little bit about what that means. When you have a task that you're doing, for it to be part of, to know that it's going to get done and for it to be successful, you need to be in charge of all 3 pieces of PPE. And this is where we go wrong, maybe like in the example from that story that you told, Laura, with the school drop-off, that you give it to somebody else. They don't hold all the parts of PPE. Okay, so to be successful, you need to plan something. You need to be able to perform that duty, and you need to excel at it, which means there needs to be a good outcome from it. Now, if you give away any part of the task, you're not in control. Now, I'm going to give you an example here of how this works in day-to-day life. I am the #1 dog lover in my house, and I walk my dog every morning. But there are some mornings when my husband, if he's working from home, he'll say, "Oh, I'll take the dog out." which is lovely. And then I get an extra bit of time to probably go do maybe the laundry or something else at that time. So that's lovely. He has helped me out with my mental load of walking the dog. It's a good mental load, but he helped me out. Now, the next morning, he's still at home. Nothing's changed. The routine's the same. I assume that he is going to take the dog on a walk. But he hasn't even thought about taking the dog for a walk because it's not part of his mental load. And he's just assuming he can run his day however he chooses. So I assume he's walking the dog and I've planned my day accordingly. He assumes I'm going to walk the dog. So therefore we end up with a situation that neither of us has the time to walk the dog because one of us didn't hold all the cards. Now, if you hold all the cards and somebody offers to take a piece of it from you, that's fine. Take them up on that offer. But the default setting is that when you have a task that is, or a hat that you wear, you have the PPE. The plan, perform, and excel on that task.
Mm-hmm. If you think of PPE in the form of mental load, think of it as you wouldn't go into the operatory with just one glove. So if there is a task, the best way is to have all PPE. All right, number 3 is automate and outsource. Now, this is a fun one, but it's important to remember when we're automating and outsourcing that we consider our values. Because what we don't want to do is automate and outsource the things that bring us joy, unless they are little things that allow us to bring more joy in different ways. And so looking at that, there are lots of different things that we can give to somebody else by delegating or outsourcing that can free up our time, maybe to do some of the other tasks that we can't outsource or get away from, or also to do some of the tasks that bring us joy. An example of this is I love cleaning my house. I absolutely love it. But as many of you probably know, before you clean, you have to clean. And so usually there are things to pick up, there are things to put away before you actually get to the real fun of like the vacuuming and the cleaning of the floors and the setting up of things, that joyful part of it. And so a lot of times I have a set amount of time to do this, but I spend so much time pre-cleaning that I don't get to this part that brings me joy. So I could delegate and say to my family, tomorrow I'm going to clean. I need everybody to pick up their stuff so that I can. Mm-hmm. And then I get to enjoy that task to its fullest potential. So that's just an example of that one. So it's important that you hold on to those hats that bring you joy. Mm-hmm. And outsource the hats that don't bring you joy. And so I like to think of hats that bring me joy like a crown. And the hats that don't bring you joy, I have a word for those. Now, I know that whenever people hear me present, a lot of the comments that we get in the chat box quite often are about the English vocabulary that I use, like, oh my gosh, she said that. And like, wow, well, I'm going to teach you a word today. And this is an English word, which basically the definition is it's something unfashionable and something without style in appearance. So we are going to we have Laura's crown, and the opposite is you have Karen's dowdy hat. Okay, so this is the dowdy hat, which we don't want to be wearing anymore. The dowdy hats are the ones that we want to give away. Mm-hmm. So no more dowdy hats. Awesome. That's the best part about having a friend and business partner from another country, is learning all the terminology. So dowdy is now part of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Awesome. So as we come back, some of you may not have gotten to answer this last question, but we have a fun question here, and we're going to do a Mentimeter slide.
Mhm.
One more time. So, what is the strangest thing you have outsourced or ever heard of being outsourced?
Mhm. We've heard of some funny things recently when we've asked this question of people.
Yes, we have.
And it gives you good ideas. Like, I never even thought about doing that.
Picking up the dog poop.
I outsource my laundry.
That's a cool one.
That is a cool one.
I'm jealous, actually, Amber, with that.
Yes.
Somebody's a pine needle, has got a pine needle sweeper.
Mhm.
Come and sweep pine needles.
Mhm.
Outsourcing the intimate partner sounds interesting.
Aw.
A handyman to hang pictures.
Mm,
Look at this one. Somebody got a personal shopper.
nice.
That is a really good idea, actually.
Mhm.
Doing a ditch.
Mhm. Hanging Christmas lights. Yep.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Somebody on my neighborhood wrapped Christmas presents.
That's one. That's nice.
Personal driver. Someone to
Ooh.
cook dinner.
Mm.
To be their husband's sports fan friend. That's a good one.
So you don't have to be.
See, we're all getting ideas here.
Yeah. Prepping ingredients for meals. Ooh. I would love a meal prep ingredient prepper.
Yeah.
You just, it's all in those like little bowls ready to throw in. That'd be cool.
A good bookkeeping.
Mm-hmm.
My next door neighbor has someone come to their house every 2 weeks who's called the dog poop fairy. And she comes and cleans the garden of dog poop. Her truck actually says dog poop fairy on it.
I want a dog poop fairy.
Cool. Oh, thank you for sharing those
Yeah.
things.
These are really good.
Just a little bit of fun, but also give some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else took kid to a cheesy show. That's a cool one.
That's good.
Oh, thank you. Right, I'm going to stop sharing that one, Laura. And there we go.
All right. Yeah. And the fun piece of that is, again, it gives you ideas of things that you never even thought you could outsource, that, oh, wow, I could outsource that. And so I think that's fun. That's a fun conversation to have when you go out with your friends, or when you get on a Zoom call with friends. It's a good topic.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So we are going to do a bit of live coaching, and our volunteer who is going to take to the stage with us is the amazing Deb Carrier. And whilst Deb is being brought up here, me and Laura just want to say thank you to Deb, because the twice as nice grey lab coats that we wore on the cover of the Dew magazine just were perfect. So thank you so much.
Yes,
they're just amazing. We want to wear them all the time now. Laura
we
and
do.
I to wear them.
That's what happens.
Yeah. They're beautiful and comfortable and classy, and you were a joy to work with. We kind of put you under some pretty big pressure to get it, and you were fantastic. So thank you.
That's one of my hats.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for volunteering to do this now. And it's just going to be super fun, and just a quick, maybe 6 minutes or so of just a little bit of coaching. But what we wanted to ask you, Deb, is when you look at your list of all the things that you do, what are the things that don't bring you joy on that list?
Oh gosh. Budget planning, getting my car serviced, putting gas in my car. Let's see what else. Being the oldest sibling in the family, I'm always the one that's, taking up for, who's ever having an issue or needs something. I have that burden of being the oldest one. I have elderly parents and sisters, and that's probably a really big one. Not that I don't love my family, but, there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. And as I learned at DEW, responsibility is my number 2. So I wear that heavily.
So if we can concentrate for a minute on one of those things that doesn't bring you joy, which one would you like to focus on?
Well, let's go with the family thing, I guess.
Okay. So explain to me a little bit about why that's difficult and why that doesn't bring you joy. Why is it hard?
Because I'm the CEO of a company and I have a lot going on in my life. And I live very close to all of my family, so I'm the one that can jump up and go. So they look at it like that. And so instead of it being a joy, like one of my favorite things to do is I have brunch every Sunday with my parents. And I love, that's a set thing and that's what I do. But then, I'll get calls from other family members that I've got to jump in and go rescue so-and-so and, take over other responsibilities that I think other family members could probably handle.
So it sounds like that you are the person to deal with it. Like the default setting is Deb will do it.
Yeah, and I did that to myself, obviously.
Tell me a little bit about how you did it to yourself.
Well, because I enjoy doing a lot of that kind of stuff. My family, all of us go on a big family vacation over Christmas together, and there's like 14 of us, and I love to cook. So I just said, well, I'll cook all the meals while we're out of town for 2 weeks. And I love doing it, but that's just an example of, Deborah will take over, Deborah will handle all the anniversary parties, and Deborah will handle Christmas, and Deborah will handle Thanksgiving. And so, yeah, I just kind of volunteered my way in.
Wow. That sounds like a huge amount of work. And I'm going to pass it over to Laura now, who's going to help you run it through our little PPE and declutter and outsource.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you look at that role and you look at the 3 areas, whether either decluttering or running it through PPE or outsourcing and delegating, could you think about an area of that hat that you wear and put it into one of those categories?
Yeah, I mean, the minute I heard you say delegate, yeah, that is definitely something I could do. Being the oldest, I just never did that. But a lot of my other family members live closer now. Plus, I was always the one that was close to everybody, but now we're all here. So yes, I'm very good at delegating within my company, but I'm not very good at delegating within my family. And I should do a better job with that.
So I heard you say that you love Sunday brunch. And so I don't think you should delegate Sunday brunch.
Right.
But is there another event that maybe is a little lower down on your joy list that you would like to delegate?
Yeah, I think it would just be more of, when things come up with my parents, I'm always the one that just said, I'll just go do it. And I could easily pick up the phone and ask one of my sisters or a niece or, everybody, all the kids are old enough now that they can jump in and help as well. And I just don't do that. And I just take it and go and grumble about it. But, but yes, I should force myself to reach out to them and ask, because it's not, they're probably not going to do it. It's just that I just don't ask.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you ever wonder if they know how to do those things, or that maybe they don't because you've always done them?
Well, yeah, there's probably a little bit of that I need to probably help train them to do some of these responsibilities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you could pick one thing, let's get specific.
Okay.
If you could pick one thing, let's say something that came up in the last several weeks.
Okay.
There one event that happened with your parents and somebody called you to take care of, that you would have felt comfortable delegating?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the Christmas trip. Before we even left on the trip, because I was doing all the cooking, I just decided I'd go and do most of the shopping for the foods and just take it with me, because we were driving to this particular place. And I could have easily delegated that out, and they would have been fine with that. But I was like, well, no, I know what we need. I know exactly what I want to get, and it's just easier. I'll just do it. But I didn't really have time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So in the future, would it make you feel lighter when there is a holiday and you love to cook, that you delegate the shopping list to somebody else?
Yes, I am going to write that on my calendar for December right now. And I'm going to put Deborah's doing no grocery shopping, and I'll let them take. And I actually have a sister who loves to do that anyway, so I just need to hand that over to her. So thank you for making me see that, and it's going on the calendar literally when we get off this call.
Yes.
Yay.
Awesome.
Now I'm more excited about the trip.
Yeah. And remember your PPE. So let them have that. Let them take all of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for volunteering to go through that. That's awesome. All right. So we are kind of getting to the end here, and we have a bit to wrap up, but just in conclusion, the first thing that we did tonight was recognize the invisible hats that we all wear and how this impacts our energy. Mm-hmm. You've probably all heard this a little bit cliche, but in order to make a change, we have to be aware of what needs to change. And so becoming aware of these invisible hats is really important. And doing this together in a group is super valuable, because like we remember things that we do when somebody else talks about them that we forgot. It was invisible to us even.
Yeah. Secondly, what we did is we were able to define what mental load is, and for all of you to realize all of the differences in the types of hats that you're wearing. Some are hats that may be mental load, but they bring you joy. They're your crowns. And some of these tasks that we just take on and just automatically assume and that we're doing are our dowdy hats. Yeah, that are the ones that we want to get rid of. So thinking about which is your crowns and which things are your dowdy hats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then finally, we unburdened our mental load by deciding to give away a dowdy hat with its full PPE.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember, again, that we can't give away all of our invisible hats all of the time, even the dowdy ones. Mm-hmm. But by giving away the ones we can, it frees us up to pay attention to the ones that we must wear. and the ones that we love to wear. So you can continue this exercise on your own and update it anytime you feel like you're feeling that heavy load of mental load.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, we'd just like you to just one more time with one more little quiz. Let us know, how does unburdening your mental load make you feel?
We see some words popping up here. Ooh. Free and lighter and happy. Somebody's autographed our screen in a very fancy way too.
That's cool.
lighter and happier.
Sublime. Ooh, I like that.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.
Free. These are all words. Happy, accomplished, relaxed. I can breathe. These are all words that free to do more of what brings me joy. So this is the feeling that we really want to create, isn't it, Laura, with our Unburden workshops? So
yeah.
Smiling, like I'm able to breathe. So thank you everybody for sharing that one. That was really nice to see those results. Now, if you're curious and you want to dive deeper and learn other techniques to unburden further, then Laura and I would love for you to join us on our next Unburden workshop, which will kind of continue off from where we've got today. And I'm just going to click this slide on here. There is a QR code here if you would like to use that to go to that website. And also Nikki will put it in the chat as well. So if you would like to do more on this topic, then Laura and I would love to see you again.
Yes. Yeah. We'll dive deeper, and this workshop, we are only accepting 15 registrants. So we're going to try and keep it small so we get really into uncovering and unburdening and lightening your load even more. And there's a special rate for dues for this workshop as well. So awesome. That wraps us up. I think we're wrapping up on time. Thank you so much, dues, for participating tonight. It was so fun to lift a little weight off your shoulders. I hope you all feel unburdened a bit. And hats off to you for all the hats you all wear.
Yeah.
And thank you, Anne. Thank you, Nikki, and all of DEW to help us here tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Laura and Karen, for being so generous with your time today to help us. I honestly am breathing better. I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm thinking of a few things that I'm going to be able to unburden and give the gift of somebody else letting them help me, because people, like I was just thinking of Deb, and Deb, thank you for sharing that, because so many times they want to help us. Your sisters love you. And we just have to ask. And that's the thing. And I was singing this song on our breakout, like, nobody does it better. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter if they get the wrong peanut butter. It's going to be okay. Right, everybody? So anyway, we learn from you tonight. I feel 100% better about my life. I wanted to show you guys, this came in the mail today and it's gorgeous. Kelly's in this. Thank you for being in there. All these, Brandy's in here. So many beautiful women are in this edition of DDS magazine. So it's coming to your mailbox. It should be there this week. The digital is going to be going out to everybody. Share it with your loved ones, with your yummy dews that we all love, and bring them to us. And remember, Laura and Karen, they've got the mint door that is just being launched for all female dentists. So please, let's get healthy, ladies. mentally, physically, in our lives, in our romance, everything, all of that, the whole wheel. Let's do it together and share that with each other. So I'm wishing you all the best week. I want to thank Nikki and Jillian for manning the show behind the scenes. Thanks, gals. Love you. Love all of you. So join us. We did a coffee chat today for the West Coast, by the way, everyone. We had our first West Coast. Thank you for joining us. And that's going to be on Tuesdays at 3:30. We're going to call it tea time, not coffee time, but tea time. And I know Karen loves that one.
Yeah,
that's right. A little cup of tea.
Yeah.
And then we'll see all of you if you're there with us tomorrow on the Wednesday coffee chat at 9:30 Eastern. So keep doing you. We love you and thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right.